Of course, again, my name is Elton Brobe. We are live on our social media handles. Your comments and questions are welcome via X Spaces, on YouTube, on myjoyonline.com, of course, on Facebook. Now, let's settle for the matters on hand this afternoon. Now, the minority NDC in Parliament, they've called on President Akufo-Addo to cause the arrest of the CEO of Lamens Investment Africa, the company at the center of the repackaging and distribution of expired rice to senior high schools in February, allegedly. Now, the Member of Parliament for Northton, whilst addressing the media, bemoaned the President's silence on the matter, which has garnered attention the past few days. He also urged President Akufo-Addo to, as a matter of urgency, call for an investigation and sanction of the board of the National Food Buffer Stock and other persons implicated in the distribution of the expired rice.
President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Bawumia cannot remain silent on this grave matter, which jeopardizes the health of millions of Ghanaian students. The nation is looking up to them to offer leadership, punish culprits who are largely their appointees, and implement reforms to ensure the safety of our children. The NDC caucus also demands the immediate arrest and prosecution of the directors of Lamens Investment Africa Limited, Mr. Ajefi Mensah and Simon Ejeyi, those two directors. And Simon Ejeyi, at the time of the arrest, was there supervising the operations, director of the company, supervising the illegal operations at the buffer stock storage facility in Kumasi, before the order came from above that he should be released. We demand their rearrest and prosecution. The board and management of the National Food Buffer Stock Company must be sanctioned for allowing their storage facility to be used for this atrocious act and for operating unregistered storage facilities across the country. Such recklessness, which sacrifices the health of our students for corrupt transactions, must not go unpunished. The Ministry of Education must be probed for their conduct in this despicable affair, not only for supervising this rot, which severely endangers the health of SHS students, but also their reported role, as alleged by FDA officials, that they piled undue pressure to get the FDA to back off. The Ministry of Education must be probed. And Reverend Johnny Tim Fojo, who has remained silent, as if he's not in this country, the earlier he tells Ghanaians why he concealed this information. Because as far back as January, they could have stopped the repackaging and redistribution of this rice. None of them will be made to get away. Ladies and gentlemen, we call on CHAS, teacher unions, the PTAs, and all Ghanaians to insist, indeed they must insist, that no senior high school should ever again be made to receive food items which have been criminally repackaged and which do not contain expiry dates. This must be a no, 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 and must never be countenanced. Friends from the media, our side in respective parliamentary committees have agreed to initiate inquiries into this atrocious affair. And you can see our distinguished ranking member on the Education Committee. And to be fair to him, for many months and years, he has been raising concerns about the quality of food. You recall, you have interviewed him here on many occasions. Now we have the incontrovertible evidence. He always knew what he was talking about. But the Ministry of Education, which he oversights, refused to listen to him. And now see where we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall not rest until justice is done in this matter.
So that's Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Currently he's a chairman of the Government Assurances Committee in Parliament, and he made a call. Among the demands is asking President Akufo-Addo to initiate the arrest of the owners of the company allegedly involved in the importation of the rice. Now, President Akufo-Addo has yet to speak to this matter. The Ministry of Education has yet to officially also respond to this matter. But the Chief of Staff at the Presidency, Frema Opare, has described the whole scandal as not true in a propaganda that should have no place in the education sector. She spoke to my colleague, Prince Kwame Kuduga, on the sidelines of the National Education Week long ongoing here in Accra.
The education sector in Ghana is moving forward to catch up with the modern trends. We are not late. What we are doing is helping our students to have critical minds. So they create. They are not just imbibing knowledge, but they are actually creating knowledge. And I think we need to support the education agenda that the government has. This transformative agenda is worth supporting.
But then the issue about some expired rice served to students, has it come to your notice, and are you worried about that?
It is, you know, it is not true. So please, let us focus on things that move this country forward. I think this is our problem. We have good things. Look at what I've just seen. That should be your focus. How you advance the Ghanaian child, how you improve their opportunities so they become good citizens. Propaganda and rumor mongering has no place in education exhibition. Thank you.
Right, so that's how the Chief of Staff at the Presidency, Akosua Frema Opare, responded to this matter of the alleged expired rice that's already been consumed by students in the senior high school. Now let's get some reaction, and the spokesperson for the Ministry of Education, Kwesi Kwarteng, joins me for more on this matter. Mr. Kwarteng, good afternoon, and a pleasure to have you here on the Pulse.
Good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
Great, great. So you heard the minority NDC in Parliament today. 20 questions in all. Bottom line, they want the company and the directors arrested and charged for, importing what they describe as unwholesome rice. I know that you've been updating on your social media handles what you've done so far. First, is it right to say that, as far as you are concerned, there's no expired rice that has been consumed by students in the senior high school cycle?
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to engage Ghanaians through your platform and address this matter. I hope it becomes, it sets some clarity once and for all. But of course, if it doesn't, we'll still take the opportunity to still explain, because I thought that so far as FDA has been able to come out clearly that within their own existing protocols and their tests that they ran, asked at when they were issuing the directives for the rice to be distributed to the schools, to the said company, the rice was wholesome and safe for consumption. I thought that would have ended it. But I mean, it appears Mr. Ablakwa, the Honorable Ablakwa, is just exploiting the situation to advance his political relevance. Because, I mean, why should you also be trumpeting a question that has already been answered by the relevant agency? Because, I mean, he asked 22 or 20 questions, but you see, the bottom line is the substantive question whether or not the food was wholesome.
Right.
If it was, then I am not sure there is any cause for alarm. And it's almost becoming apparent that the Honorable Ablakwa is even disappointed in the fact that even the FDA came out that FDA gave clearance in terms of the wholesomeness of the food. So as to the question that you asked, the question was the food was safe. It was wholesome, as declared by the Food and Drugs Authority, and I will associate myself with that because they have the mandate and the expertise to make such determination or declaration at the end of the day.
So the Ministry of Education did not undertake any investigation at all. What you are telling me is based on the FDA's letter.
Certainly you ask questions. We ask them questions. I don't know what maybe investigations will constitute, but at the end of the day, we sought to understand how the whole thing happened. Because for us, we were critically concerned, because I am not sure if you take out the parents of students within the schools, nobody is more concerned than the Minister for Education, the Ministry of Education, because at the end of the day, any happenings, it will come back to us. So we asked questions, we probed, we asked Buffer Stock to respond. We also asked the said company. We also asked questions at FDA. But for us, the most critical question that we needed an answer to had to do with a question that will, give a response whether or not the food that the students ate was safe. And for us, that was the most important priority, because at the end of the day, if it was safe, I'm not sure the ministry will, for instance, not be excited with that. What we're excited to hear was the fact that the food was safe and FDA had declared safe. As to the issue that has been raised bordering on criminality, bordering on prosecution, bordering on arrest, certainly there are agencies that are responsible for carrying out those instructions or even those calls. And for that matter, I will encourage the Honorable Okujo to channel those concerns there. But you see, critically, if we want to analyze critically, the Ministry of Education does not do distribution of foods. And there's a Buffer Stock agency that is responsible for that. And Buffer Stock engage a third party. So all these happenings, assuming even without admitting that there even smacks an element or conduct of criminality, one can say that it was even done at the blind side of the ministry. But look, matters of criminality, it is not the Ministry of Education that makes proclamations on it. That is the sole reserve of the court, and of course the investigative institution that has to also investigate and come to that conclusion before a court makes a determination on it. It has to do with the Ghana Police Service and all other state institutions that have the mandate. We don't have such a mandate. So for us,
but Mr. Kwarteng, because this is the Ministry of Education and the students are ultimately under you, are you saying that the ministry does not have a say in terms of the food that go to the various schools to check whether the food is gone through all the approval processes before it is given to the matrons or the headmasters to be served for the students?
When I say that the ministry does not distribute food or supply food to the schools, I'm sure that also provoked your question. It is not in any way running away from responsibility, particularly our supervisory role as a ministry. It is even the more reason why schools like Konongo, Dumase, schools like Obuasi Sektek even rejected the food when they were distributed or supplied to them by Lamens Ventures, because to them, they felt like in terms of the repackaging, it was quite alien to them. And for that matter, they were not going to take the food. So yes, we do not run away from such, oversight responsibility. And it is even the more reason why we decided to ask questions, we decided to find out, we decided to probe and really find out what happened. In terms of what we did, it was obviously for administrative purposes.
Right.
And so we will ask questions, we will find out what went wrong, what went right. But the most important thing that we needed or we wanted to find out had to do with whether or not the food was wholesome. And FDA stated so, that within the time that the food were delivered or supplied, it was wholesome. Of course, matters which goes beyond, administrative processes or administrative inquiries. Clearly, the ministry will be usurping its powers and mandate when they decide to toe that line. But we are even open to collaborate with any other relevant institution if such calls are even valid in the first place. We are willing to collaborate with them. But my caution is that, these matters concerns the lives of people. It concerns the well-being of students. Emotions are also a bit heightened. Parents are concerned. I do not think in moments like this, just an individual under the umbrella of advancing his political relevance, keeps pushing anything to ask without even providing evidence. Now he just got to know that FDA gave an approval. Then the argument have now shifted. He's now shifting the goalposts, now laying claims that a big hand compelled FDA to give that approval. If that logic is to be sustained, then there is no need for even the company to have gone to India to even run tests on the product, even in the first place.
We'll come to that, but let me just find out. So, emphatically, you are saying that the students have not consumed expired rice.
Emphatically, I am saying that based on what FDA told us, they supported same with the document that the food was not expired.
Okay. Let me go through what you posted on a social media handle. Point 4 says that on the advice of the Food and Rice Authority, Lamens Ventures followed the necessary protocol to have the rice retested in India, its country of origin. The retesting was to ascertain the possibility of extending the rice shelf life by an additional year to December 2024. Now, this suggests that before this retesting was done, the rice had already expired?
Not really. So, I mean, it will also read the statement in full. And again, unfortunately, I have had to be the spokesperson even for buffer stock and also that of the Lamens Ventures, because at the end of the day, this was a finding that we shared to the general public. It so appears that it was construed as though the Ministry of Education was rather defending the companies. No, I'm not also sure that the expectation was that when the issue happened, the Ministry of Education should have just folded their arms and will not act. We went on an inquiry mission. So that was the finding that we made. But you see, I indicated that they had imported about 11,000 metric tons of rice.
Right.
And getting to December 2023, it was close to the best before date. So the best before date was nearing. Please, for the purpose of education and avoidance of doubt, and of course, for the context of clarity, we are talking about best before date here. Best before date is not the same as expiry date. A product can have its best before date, breach or even elapse, but that product may not necessarily be unsafe. So the company, after the product had passed the best before date, wrote to FDA.
And this was December 2023.
December 2023, to seek an extension of the best before date, because best before is not the same as expiry. So FDA also wrote back to them that before they are able to act on their letter and grant same, they have to provide them with certain text, and of course they gave indicators or variables. It's just like before a doctor is able to look at you, examine you, or give you an advice on which medication you should choose. He asks you go and do urinary tests. He asks you go and do test A or test B. So they were compelled to go and run a test on the product, whether the product was still wholesome or safe for consumption. And they did same. So after verification and evaluation of the test report, that is where FDA granted a temporary extension of 3 months to 30th of April. Sorry, that will be more than 3 months because that's January,
right.
February, March, up to April. Okay. So within that context, FDA had extended the best before time. And I'm not sure that, ordinarily, yes, on the face value to the layman, it can be construed that the product had expired. But I think for the purpose of clarity, on the FDA letters and the 2 corresponding letters, even from the company, it had to do with a best before date and not expiry date.
All right, so let's say a little longer on this matter. So do you know why the company was fined 150,000 Ghana cedis and they eventually paid 50,000 Ghana?
Yes. So per the inquiry, our finding is that the company had written to buffer stock. The company had written to FDA seeking approval to repackage the product because to them they were trying to avoid public backlash and of course some form of media backlash when it gets out there that on the product labeling there is a clear best before date that has elapsed. But when they took the letter to FDA, FDA did not grant same. So FDA had to fine Lamens Ventures for not securing approval for the repackaging that they did. So the fining was not in relation to the wholesomeness of the product. It had to do with repackaging without approval. I mean, I'm not sure FDA would have fined them just 100,000 for distributing 22,000 unwholesome and unsafe meals. I mean, clearly that would have represented a clear criminal conduct. But what the FDA fined them against was a violation of their own rules, which requires that they had to seek approval before they repackage. So the repackaging, they sent a letter, all right, but approval had not come and they had proceeded to repackage the product.
And then the repackaged product came without expiry dates, clearly in contravention of best practices. Somebody obviously was concealing something. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I mean, certainly on the face value, even though like I indicated, I don't speak for the company. If a repackaged product does not, I have not seen the product myself, but if a repackaged product does not even have a best before date or expiry date, then clearly it will certainly raise question. That I make that admission. But you remember even earlier on, FDA agreed and approved that they use the old labeling or the original labeling that had the earlier best before date, which had elapsed, and also attached documentations, showing the approval given by FDA, so that before they can be able to send the food to the schools. But I mean, they felt they got to avoid backlash and those things, they had to send. And ordinarily, mostly when you take food to school, is on demand basis. So usually a week or two, I mean, that consignment will be finished and you have to take another one. So certainly, even though I do not purport to speak for them, on the face value, I may think that they felt that even when they take this within a space of a week or two, the food will be, the whole food will have been consumed by the students. I'm sure, but I mean, clearly, it's a very valid question that we all have to ask. That even when you are doing repackaging, you will probably even also have to look at even the date that was agreed for, which was the 30th of April. The company ought to have indicated same on it. I'm sure it is even the more reason why FDA had to sanction them for that figure, which is 100,000 Ghana cedis. But I mean, clearly FDA should be able to give us more details when it comes to their matters of compliance and the effect of non-compliance. And maybe the company should also be able to speak when it comes to matters like this on why they elected to do that. If, I mean, that is what they did. But I'm yet to personally identify some of the sites. I've seen some of the pictures. A lot of the schools, for instance, Obuasi Tech rejected. Konongo Massive, for instance, rejected. But I'm yet to see the new labeling, because I mean, personally myself also.
And they rejected because of lack of adequate labeling, or because it had issues with wholesomeness?
No, I mean, as soon as the for instance, the headmaster for Konongo Massive, for instance, his argument was that because it was the labeling did not have adequate information, he could not have taken the rice. And of course, I mean, this is also speaks to the fact that as a ministry, we have an internal mechanism that even addresses these things, because we can't just take any food to the school, even though we do not take the food to the schools themselves. When a supplier is true buffer stock take the food to the schools, headmasters have that mandate and they have that authority to say that, look, this food, because it was quite alien to them that for the first time we are having food not labeled, we are having food not giving the correct or the full, I don't want to use correct, the full information as to what entails in the food. And so for that matter, there are even most of the schools that even rejected the food that were sent to them. But I mean, for purpose of clarity, that should be separated from the question of whether or not it was wholesome, because that matter was settled by the FDA.
And Mr. Kwarteng, is Lamens still in the business of supplying food under the free SHS program?
I will need to confirm from Buffer Stock, or probably Buffer Stock should be the right agency that have to. Well, you know, Buffer Stock is not under Ministry of Education. Buffer Stock is under Ministry of Agric.
Right.
So we do work for the purpose of collaboration. So I have to confirm whether they are still partners. I really have to confirm.
Okay. And then the political demands, before I let you go. So one is that Samuel Okujeku says that the Ministry of Education, even though you speak for the Ministry of Education, you've been on this matter since last week. Officially, the ministry appears to be unconcerned as far as this matter is concerned. They called out the Deputy Minister, Reverend Ntim Fodjo, that he's here to make any comment on this matter. And they say that that is unacceptable. You appear to be endorsing an illegality. What will be your response to this?
You said the ministry is endorsing an illegality.
The claim is that the ministry official has been very quiet on this, but even though you've been speaking to this matter since last week, and they called out the Deputy Minister.
That is a contradiction. Because if I speak, I don't speak in the capacity of Kwesi Kwarteng. I speak in the capacity of the ministry. So I don't really get this whole point about the ministry has been mute on it. Indeed, he even took a screenshot of my Facebook post and ran commentaries on it, and as to how he understands it and interpreted it as how he wants to do it. But you see, the point is that I am not saying that his concerns are not valid. If you are a parent and you hear within the public space that food that were meant to be supplied to your schools where your children are unwholesome, are unsafe, and people have some way conspired to take the food to the schools and give it to the students, certainly you'll be alarmed, you'll be concerned. But I mean, the most important question you have to find out is, first of all, as a parent, was the food safe? If it comes out that the food was indeed safe, then I'm sure this whole, conversation should have been ended. But it appears that Mr. Blakwa is not even excited about the fact that other documents we got reveals that indeed the food was safe. Of course, one can understand. He's a politician. We have barely 20 days to election, and so the best way to cut the government on his knees, particularly when the government wants to ride at the back of the free SHS program, is to let Ghanaians believe that, yes, the food was not wholesome. Nobody is disputing that it could not be. But when a situation comes and a politically exposed person deliberately wants to exploit the situation, of course, to advance his political relevance and score a political points, it becomes very pathetic. He has the right to comment on it. He has the right to call for the arrest of every individual. But I'm saying that what is happening currently, he's exploiting the situation, he's abusing the situation to achieve his own political relevance and interest. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he's fighting for the cause of students. If indeed he wants to fight for the cause of students, do you call for arrest on media? Is the media forum police station? Is the media IGP? What is preventing him from going to the IGP? From Parliament House to police headquarters, how many minutes? So why do you have to organize the whole Ghana media to one spot and say that I'm calling for the arrest of A, B, C, D? If you want to call for arrest of, if you think that somebody has, engaged in a criminality, there are forums for it. Nobody in the Ministry of Education will be willing to shield anyone. No. If you engage in a criminality, you should be able to pay for it yourself. But at the end of the day, when Mr. Blakwa runs commentary, dramatizes the situation, and makes it look as though even the Ministry of Education, which has no role, which has no mandate, which has no, authority in the supply of food, was the one who should be blamed for this thing, it becomes very sad. But I am very excited that in all this thing, it proved that the food was wholesome, and we've also not heard any complaints about students who are sick. Parents should calm down, and they should be rest assured that we are there for them. We will not compromise on the safety and the quality and the well-being of their students. when there are issues, it still has to take leadership, and we are ever ready and willing to intervene or show leadership in such circumstances.
All right, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Mr. Kwesi Kwarteng is a public relations officer with the Ministry of Education. Let me put it on record that the Food and Drugs Authority, they are yet to respond to this matter, even though we've made several attempts to get them to tell their side of the story. Why, for example, they imposed a fine on the company, why they went through the process of having the product retested and extended the expiry date, if you like, and other few questions that we need to get answers, including the alleged doctor's report or health report that suggested that the food or the rice was not even wholesome for even animals, and yet it was repackaged and then given to the buffer stock, and they also supplied to the secondary schools across the country. These are questions that we need answers to, and of course we'll wait to hear from the Food and Drug Authority as well as the buffer stock company. But let's stay with education, because the Chief of Staff at the Presidency, Freema Opare says the Akufo-Addo-led government has shown more commitment to the education sector since 2017, touting some key policies implemented by the government within this period, including major investment in infrastructure, TVET, and free senior high school policy. The Chief of Staff asserted that data from the West Africa examination certificate result of free SHS students shows quality was not sacrificed for quantity, despite increased participation in secondary education. Madam Freema Opare made this observation at the opening session of this year's National Education Week by the Ministry of Education.
Since January 2017, the NPP government, led by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has focused on enhancing human capital through targeted educational investments across all levels. These investments have spanned the basic education, secondary education, technical and vocational education, and tertiary education. Key initiatives include the introduction of the free SHS and TVET, equitable infrastructure expansion, restoration of teacher training allowances, and the passage of the Pre-Tertiary Act 2020, Act 1049, among others. The free senior high school program, introduced in 2017, has become a cornerstone of our agenda, removing financial barriers, expanding school infrastructure, and improving the quality of secondary education. The initiative has enabled countless young Ghanaians from all backgrounds to continue their education. It has also led to a significant enrollment increase, demonstrating how many young people have overcome financial obstacles. Poverty, gender, and deprivation must no longer hinder access to secondary education. With this increased participation, I'm proud to note that we have maintained quality. The WASI results demonstrate that our students thrive academically despite larger classes and expanded participation.
All right, so that's the Chief of Staff. Now, let's talk about children and those who are not in school but are fending for themselves on the streets. In today's edition of Streets of Despair, we take you to Kaneshi First Light, where here in Accra, where children, some as young as 10 years old and far from their homes in Niger or Nigeria, are fighting to survive. These children, once seen begging at car windows, are now selling goods at the median of our city's busiest streets, dodging traffic and finding ways to feed themselves and their families with dignity. Fosina Safu has more.
I have come to one of the busiest intersections in the capital, Kaneshi First Light. Once the traffic light signals red, young faces appear through the blare of car windows with outstretched arms, Warm smiles and sometimes tear-filled eyes. They try to prick your conscience, hoping you spare a coin or two. These children, often from Niger and Nigeria, once upon a time survived mainly through the benevolence of passengers and drivers. However, their approach has changed. They have become vendors, selling products like cotton earbuds and brushes, striving to catch the attention of potential buyers. For these young ones, this isn't just a sales pitch. 10-year-old Aisha says she makes enough profit selling cotton earbuds to feed herself and her parents, who are meters away.
My parents moved from Niger because things there were difficult. We came here hoping for a better life. At first, I begged, but now I make more money selling. I can now cater for myself and my parents.
For 10-year-old Fati, selling car brushes provides her the dignity begging deprives her of.
When I was begging, people used to stare at me a lot. Now I sell and I know they see me. It's not much, but I'm earning something and feels better. I make at least 20 cedis profits a day.
This new path is far from easy. There are days when they make nothing, standing in the hot sun or under pouring rain, but they still push on for the sake of their families.
There are days when the sales are not good, but still we try our best. We can only pray for better days.
These children, though still so young, are learning harsh lessons in resilience, lessons that no child should ever have to learn. Caught between the innocence of childhood and the harsh demands of survival, these children are left to wonder, is there a future beyond the streets, or will they be forever bound to this life? For Sinasafo, Joy News, Kaneshi First Light.
Right, so this is the policy on Joy News. We'll take a short break and return with more. You're welcome back to the show here on Joy News. Now, your election headquarters is where we are now. It's brought to you in association with Petrosol, Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chalkbox, a convenient service, German Ozone, Alternative Therapy, Dental Wellness and Beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, AICPA, and CIMA, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Also, Youth Bridge Foundation, Bridging Girls for Positive Youth Development, Synthes Towns, a strong, a tough, Potential Real Estate, your trusted partners in real estate, Deluxe Paint Mu Champion, and of course, we are live on DSTV channel 41, Go TV 125, all social media platforms and around the world on myjoyonline.com. Stay tuned for more. Now, let's start from the Ashanti region, where presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Bawumia, has pledged to tackle the country's housing deficit, promising to construct housing units in every district if elected as president. Speaking during a campaign at Bonso in the Central Front Plains constituency of the Ashanti region, Dr. Bawumia indicated his administration will prioritize the construction of affordable housing units to address the country's housing shortage. He believes the housing sector has the potential to create thousands of jobs, both directly and indirectly, and that his initiative will help address the unemployment change. But first, listen to the chief of Bonso, Nana Dwamena Dankwa, who bemoaned the housing challenge and some difficulties experienced in a community.
To be, you say, abai edru mebia. Almost see bibi e fe no affordable houses. Ewo yenkuro akese ne yenkuro enketo anu mu eye affordable houses. If it na abai yes a enema no. Na midi hini mfie duonu miensani. Onyankopon na me so wacheche do bonso amana yekuru fefe. Yafo. Ene broni akura bia adwuma ewa ha. Enam se enipa bebu ha omo pa adwuma ye nti no ye dai boa ye We know
government is constructing affordable houses in the cities. Since a lot of people are coming into the community, rent is getting expensive because the demand is high. So government should come and I'll help with the land so we can construct houses to help people. This is my plea to Dr. Bawumia.
Me family de enhye mu na se ye de ma haya ye family de enso so e ma me na wo mo eye adwuma wa ha na timanya da ne bi atenem aye wonwuma we ni adesrede a me de to eye yewura Mahmoud Bawumia animu.
And Dr. Bawumia promised to address the challenges if elected president.
Memunu etiminye ichuma aye adhishe medeba the design aye housing policy ushe amaya adaya accommodation ne housing and some edijuma bebre eba usi adaya masons wo carpenters wo electricians, plumbers.
Housing comes with cost and creates a lot of jobs, just like it is done in Singapore. We are coming to construct houses across all districts, and just as Nana said, we'll do it and create jobs for the people.
Social as well as affordable housing schemes across all the districts. A manifesto. Nana Aboso already said Mohia affordable housing because housing niha professionals are modebe transfer mahano umumba na yebe yesano abdi ejuma beba.
And to the camp of the NDC, and John Mahama, who is the flag bearer of the party, has also promised to address critical infrastructure needs in Kabia in the Mion constituency if elected in the 2024 election. Speaking during the final phase of his tour of the northern region, he expressed worry of what he says is the neglect of the community over the past 8 years, citing the lack of good roads, healthcare and facilities, potable water and telecommunication service. He assured residents that a future NDC government will put premium on these areas to improve their condition. He also promised to construct boarding facilities for students at the E block in the communities.
And we decided to do the rally here in Kabia because it is one of the deprived parts of the Mion constituency. You yourself, you notice the road on which we came, and that is one of their major problems. They also have problems with telecommunications network, they have problems with water, and they have problems with health facilities. And so these are the felt needs of the people. They've been denied all these for the last 8 years. Everything you see here, including the electricity and everything, was done during NDC's era. In the last 8 years, nothing has been done here. And so it's NDC that is going to come and bring development back to this place. Our number one priority will be to fix the road so that we can have easy access to the place. The next will be to get them a good health facility so that they don't have to go all the way to Yendi to look for treatment. And then also provide them with water, clean drinking water, instead of going all the way to Yendi for treatment. And so there's a lot that we must do here.
And the Tamale South Member of Parliament, Haruna Idrisu, says the NDC-led government under John Mahama will complete all ongoing projects initiated by the Akufo-Addo and Bawumia administrations. However, he stressed that these projects will be subjected to value for money audit to ensure accountability and prudent use of resources.
Overall, is winning young, and then to the media, report to President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia that Excellency John Dramani Mahama will continue and complete every project initiated by them in accordance with Article 35(7) of the Constitution of Directive Principles of State Policy. but he will subject each of those projects to a value for money audit that he will do as president.
Right, we'll return to the NDC, but let me take you back to the MPP because Dr. Mohamed Bawumia is continuing with this tour of the Ashanti region. Let me take you live to the Ashanti region where Nana Boakye Adom is with the campaign team of Dr. Bawumia.
His Excellency Nana Dr. Mahmoud
Now, and what is happening?
On the 7th December. On the 7th December,
So we're trying to get the attention of Nana Boakye Adom, who is covering the MPP flag bearers campaign in the Ashanti region. Ashanti region has become a hotspot for the MPP. Their target is to reach at least 75 plus votes in the December election. Nana Boakye, where exactly has the campaign train got into, and what can you report?
On the 7th December.
All right, so Elton, we are live here in the Subin constituency. This is the second constituency the Vice President is touring during his day 14 of this 15-day Ashanti regional tour. You realize that he started today in the Ishiaso constituency and he is in the Subin constituency. But let me run you up through the processes so far, or where the Vice President has been to since he started his tour this morning. He held the stakeholder engagement at Atasamanso, the constituency of the Deputy Finance Minister, Stephen Amwa, held a mini rally in the constituency, and then drove to the Santasi market where he had an engagement with the market women. He moved on to the Subin constituency, the Gumba line, where he had a door-to-door engagement and also spoke to some people on the streets of the Subin constituency. Now we are at the Kumasi Sports Stadium, Abies Park, where the Vice President is expected to have the mini rally again, because he has already done the stakeholder engagement for the Subin constituency, which was held at the Prempeh Assembly Hall. The Vice President, before coming here, would pass through the Dotiye of the Achampemhine in Edum before he gets into the rally to join the party supporters who are here to share his message to them. This is 14 days out of the 15-day tour the Vice President is having in the Ashanti region. Is expected to end tomorrow by wrapping up in 3 other constituencies, which will make it 47 out of 47 constituencies in the Ashanti region, and also make it 16 regions so far since he started his nationwide campaign. And so we are expecting the Vice President to end the campaign tomorrow. But from Subin constituency, today he'll be going to the Aswanse constituency, a very fierce constituency the MPP is seeking to retain or to win this year, and also end up the day in the Menchia South constituency, the constituency of his running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. And so you can see the crowd here, they are all coming to witness or to listen to the words of the Vice President, Dr. Mohamed Bawumia, who is expected to be here in no time. But already there are some party supporters here. I can see some people from the Movement for Change who are also here. I don't know what they are about to do here, but I can see them in your shots. They are wearing the dress or the t-shirt of Alan Kojo Chemate. Why are you here?
Yo, Yawaha, Yababe Sopoto, Ura, Bawumia, Sanse, here MPP. Na mentimu wasi bibinti yasa ko alanchamatin ya fa no yedi na chiache ba ya ko ye no omo ya ti ase ese oh mentimu wasi bi ba party no mo enti omo ye na nkomu twi vote ni bia na nka akọ run off na omasa kwakwan mafa so obesa be wura party no mo biem wo ti ase ye ba ye hwa nyoma e ko na anya sa agenda no asa agenda na ekuta no enya dia aboa emwa MPP said no watching no what you said what in hold here now so onu ka tire ye say or twin vote ni bi na ka bada ko run off na ka MPP for na ba ne na ase na ko masa aka abomu but ye hwenu ma e ko na
This smoking can do baby. You call meeting. I'm a phone catcher. Say
before so to us, I didn't know about Alan T-shirt to Hanum say this is a rally ground for the MPP event.
Yeah, group. You support Alan Martin previously, but I say, you have support to MPP.
Right, so you heard him say that they were members of Alan Martin's movement for change, but then this time around they've moved out from the camp of Alan Martin and they are coming to support the Vice President Dr. Mahmoudou Bawumia. Well, this is the tour of the Vice President in the Supreme constituency, Elton, and he is expected to be here for the mini rally and then move to Asomasi and the Menchia South constituency to wrap up day 14 of his campaign tour in the Ashanti region. Then he would end the tour completely tomorrow after visiting the Ahafo South and Ahafo North constituencies. Over to you, Elton.
But Nana, before you go, just a quick question, if you can hear me. So the campaign is ending tomorrow. I'm wondering, you've been with him since day one. The enthusiasm and what you are picking on the ground, is the MPP capable of at least, recording 75% or more of the popular votes in the Ashanti region? We don't have Nana Boakye Adam on, but with just 19 days remaining until this year's presidential and parliamentary election, the Agugumefia of the Asogli State, Togbe Afede, the 4th team, has made a strong appeal to the Electoral Commission to ensure free, fair, and transparent polls. He emphasized that guaranteeing a level playing field would not only boost the country's democratic credentials and preserve national peace, but also prevent any political party from disputing the results. He spoke on the sidelines of the 9th congregation of Ensign Global College in Pong in the Eastern region to urge the EC to maintain strict vigilance to prevent the entry of unauthorized materials into the voting booth on election day.
Only I think going to elections, we all have to work hard to ensure absolute free and fair election. Okay? It must be secret elections, but transparent. What transparency means that, people go to the polling stations, we see them as they go and pick their ballot papers. We see them as they enter the booth. You can see from behind what they do inside the booth. Okay, so it's supposed to be transparent, secret balloting. You see them as they pick their ballot papers. You see them as they are in the booth to ensure nobody picks and brings to the ballot, centers any foreign material. And you see them as they leave the booth to go and drop their ballots in the ballot box. For me, that aspect, very important. So nobody will cry foul. So we can all believe in, fair play or the fairness of the elections. And so we can continue to enjoy our peace after the results have been accepted by all. But again, it requires that there is absolute transparency.
On the matter of the Supreme Court, Togbe Afede, the 4th team, has weighed in on the recent tension between Parliament and judiciary, describing the situation as deeply concerning. The Supreme Court 5-2 majority ruling on the issue of the 4 vacancies in Parliament sparked widespread reaction from Ghanaians. Commenting on the matter, Togbe Afede expresses his belief that the judiciary is becoming a predictable institution.
Fortunately that, as the former Chief Justice said, the judiciary has become very predictable. It's unfortunate, and some of the decisions that emanate from the judiciary have not been very inspiring. We want a judiciary that we all know exists to protect all of us, ensure freedoms, ensure fair justice delivery. But happenings recently have given us cause for concern. Sometimes some of the way things, the laws are interpreted just defy logic. You see it written black and white, you can understand the English, but then we're given other interpretations that do not help to strengthen our democracy, strengthen rights and freedoms and justice.
We are still on the election headquarters. The Central Region has often served as a decisive bellwether in the presidential elections. As the December polls draw close, Some political artists have started crisscrossing one another to win the region's heart, which has consistently aligned with the winning presidential candidate. The latest to send his campaign to the area is independent candidate Nana Kwame Bediako, who is urging the region to break the duopoly of the NDC and the MPP. There is more in the following report by regional correspondent Eric Asante.
Nana Kwame Bediako was welcomed by teeming crowds, predominantly market women, eager to hear his vision for the country when he visited the Kaswa market in the Wutu Senior East constituency. He criticized assertive governments for failing to industrialize the nation, lamenting the collapse of factories established during Kwame Nkrumah's era. The independent candidate urged the people of Kaswa to vote for change, rejecting the dominance of the two main political parties.
Come 7th of December, this man standing in front of you, I came with 12 pillars, and I am number 12 on the ballot, and I have 12 ministers, and on the 12th month of this year, let's come together.
The tour by the new force made its way to Swedro in the Aguna West constituency, where in his address, Nana Kwame Bediako urged the people of Swedro to remember him not for his t-shirts, but for his vision for the country.
Parties now, Omajimo Masum to free Mohano. Parties now, Omajimo economies free Mohano. Those leaders are not leaders out of this 276 tono. I had to stop here. Now it's a semi-general. Now I'm semi-free here. And your t-shirt I'm the man I will climb it. Nemom obe kaisa be grubi aba na o kachre say use your thumb for kokomochino mo pen decide bibi na mo party sakrono. You will remember this moment. Say me na me buy na me kachre o.
In the Futu constituency, Nana Kwame Bediako also addressed enthusiastic crowd in Winneba, where he passionately highlighted the lack of jobs in a region known for hosting Ghana's top academic institutions.
Listen, they have not only lied to us, but they've lied to a nation. They've lied to a country. They have disappointed us. They have made us waste our time in institutions, in organizations. We have spent decades, but they don't have any jobs for us. They don't have any future for us. They don't have any hope for us. But yet they say that they are our leaders. If we don't do something about it, something will do something to us. It's time that we wake up and activate our courage, and we should refuse to follow something that cannot take us somewhere.
With just weeks to the December 7 elections, Nana Kwame Bediako is making a strong case for his independent candidacy, as he calls on Ghanaians to reject the dominance of the NDC and the MPP. From the Central Region, my name is Eric Asante for Joy News.
Welcome back, and some issues to focus our attention on now. And Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire have reached an agreement to establish a formal framework for security cooperation in the broader areas of Ghana's Savannah region and Cote d'Ivoire's Wakani region. In a communique following the two-day meeting led by the Ghana-Boundary Commission, both parties committed to reducing border porosity through advanced border posts and raising awareness among local communities about the harmful effects of illegal mining, Lamens, also known as, on the environment. Mosala Boba has more in this report.
The meeting, which brought together officials of the Ghana Boundary Commission and Cote d'Ivoire, was to build a solid foundation for cross-border security between the Savannah region of Ghana and the Bukani region of Cote d'Ivoire. During the two-day deliberations, participants identified and analyzed cross-border security issues, their causes, and key actors. They proposed resolution mechanisms and developed a roadmap of joint activities to strengthen cross-border security cooperation. Key among what the parties agreed on was to establish a formal framework for cooperation between the security services of the Savannah region in Ghana and the Bunkari region in Cote d'Ivoire, prioritize information sharing, the establishment of joint border security committees, reduce the porousness of borders between the two countries through the establishment of advanced border posts, raise awareness among border communities about the detrimental effects of illegal mining galamsey on the environment, and many others. The DC for Boli district in the Savannah region, Madam Alele Veronica Hemming, said issues of pastoral mobility management on the border needs to be treated with diligence, and she was happy she was able to share some ideas on how to deal with it.
I actually have talked to my counterparts from the Ivory Coast. When we were deliberating, he said certain nice things about the way they are dealing with herdsmen from Ivory Coast. I will go and benchmark, get the good practices, bring it back to Savannah region to support our own thing as well.
The Commissioner General of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Yumano Kutia, said Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire will soon sign the various frameworks discussed over the years.
There is a need for us also between the two regions to strengthen intra and inter-service collaboration and cooperation at a various local level, so that to enhance security along the international boundary line. The collaboration with the traditional rulers and the collaboration with other actors like civil society organizations, youth groups, and women groups within those vicinity along the border areas are very important. And once you do that, including the media as well, once you do that, we should be able to enhance security along our.
The representatives of the commissions in charge of the borders of Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana and all participants expressed their deep gratitude to the Mitigation of Trans-Organized Crime, MTOC, and German International Cooperation, GIZ, African Union Border Program partners for the financial support for the organization of this meeting.
Remember the story of a 13-year-old girl who had issues with kidney and it was failing. Now, Rosemary Boadi will begin her transplant work up on Thursday after the CEO of Engineers and Planners, Ibrahim Mahama, paid $25,000 required for her surgery. Now, ahead of this, Rafik Mahama, the special aide to the business mogul, visited the family to offer some support. Emmanuel Jiveno has more in this report.
It was a moment of raw emotions as Rosemary's mother fell to her knees to thank Ibrahim Mahama, whose kindness has given her daughter a chance at life. The special aide to CEO of Engineers and Planners Entertainment, Rafik Mahama, visited the family to wish them well ahead of the pre-transplant evaluation this week.
I was having a discussion with boss, and that's Mr. Ibrahim Mahama. So he said it's important that I come here to see them, and also before we start the process next week, so that I will see the family and also make sure that everything is fine with them before they leave for the hospital. We pray that every process that we go through in this journey to go well, and Rosemary will come back stronger and join her colleagues in school.
Mr. Rafik Mahama also presented 20,000 cedis to Rosemary and the mother for their upkeep.
Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, my boss, as part of the visit, he said I should please give you 20,000 cedis so that now you use it for the meantime to take care of yourselves before you report to the hospital next week.
For Rosemary, after years of enduring painful dialysis session and facing uncertain future, hope has finally found her.
She cannot stop thanking. I will always pray for him. God bless him. God bless him. I don't know what to say again. Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, thank you very much. Thank you.
For Rosemary's mother, Mr. Ibrahim's relief is immeasurable. For Rosemary and her mother, the journey ahead is daunting. but they are no longer walking it alone. Thanks to Ibrahim Mahama and all who continue to support and pray for them. Emmanuel Jivenu, Joy News, Teman.
And we are about wrapping up for today's edition of The Pulse. Remember that the Teachers and Educational Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress, they've defied the National Labour Commission's directive to suspend the strike that started this month. The TUC or TEU today began a nationwide indefinite strike in protest of government failure to address delays in concluding, signing, and implementing revised conditions of service for workers under the Ghana Education Service. Now, Ghana-Ivory Authority, Public Technical and Traditional University will all be affected. Well, the National Labour Commission wants TEU to return to the negotiation table, and we've got latest on that on News Night and, of course, Joy News Prime here on Joy News. But before we go, if you have been using the Achimota Fanko Road, I'm sure, you've encountered the dust in the area, all because of the ongoing construction works on that particular stretch. And it's been ongoing for some time, and clear when the work will come to a close. My colleague, Suti Abochi, went to the area and spoke to residents, motorists around the area about the challenges they are enduring in the midst of the construction works. We'll have that for you after I'm gone. My name is Elton, but whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope it's profitable. See you tomorrow, same time on The Pulse.
Well, you're still watching the AM show on Joy News, and this morning we're on that 33.4 kilometer of Fanko in Sawam Road stretch. That is, there's currently a dollarization project going on, which has been going on for some time now. Residents have been complaining about the dusty nature of the roads, the delay, the traffic that it causes. And this morning, we just want to do an assessment of the project, how it is faring, how residents, motorists, and pedestrians are faring, plying this road daily, day in, day out. Right now, we are going to speak to one of the residents who's also a driver. So he's going to tell us how things really are going on here on this Ofanko in Sawam Road. Eja, thank you for talking to us. So we've had complaints about traffic, dusty nature of the roads, but what now has say? Inti eni enkasa.
You almost started going 2 years ni. Na 2 years ni muno ya face a lot, especially drivers. Say your cars papa because e kwani die. If you have call in Sawam gidi pa say your cars. Na niame matene die. Unse 2 years ni no mo shase niamate because minimum microphobia omo ejumani mu a many omo ye free omo say yes because nansenya kura nsuo twifa ye so wa ha omo ye hade no omo blockade this side baby high tension we nti nsuo twifa evra ye dem say microphone ye makra bebre ema ye hu engineers ne ma omo compensation binum ba ye de ye bibia ansay nti no.
Hold on, let me do a quick translation. So he's basically telling us background about how the construction started about 2 years ago and how they face a lot of challenges because of this, the traffic and all that. But recently, because of some of the construction work, there was some flooding that's occurred around the area. They contacted the some of the engineers and they fixed it for them. Then it caused a flood, no?
Okay, this side here, baby, St. Moses Hospital, Community Hospital, no. A honomo side, no, omo a blockade, ana omo ye gata. Ewo, a hona gata ni hodada. Inti ombe yi high tension, no omo a blockade, honomo ye gata. Inti soni to a ninya baby and fast ye face, no, ye fee, no, any washing base be a side ho. Aha, a hodie. Insu nya kwan access any twifa nti efie ho de say 2 house na de serious insu every feel say obi aduane krese ne nyema bebre but yekohu wo no omo buy ene ne be kasai
nti then really cause traffic no because here ba no me hu say omaye road no omaye bi but ha no there you can see say it's still under construction. So what's causing the traffic?
One we say e kwan no senia omaye kwan no inner lanes ne dual and outer lanes. Yeah, ana sisi anomo every inner lanes ni bi. Ana kwan no so no joining ni e bebre. Areas ni joining so bi fi e bebre. Enti niema traffic ni eba no. Ufi Ofanko eba won sisi e ho easy traffic ni ho emu abi. But unya bedupoku ase a obi free mu, obi wrem. Ansana mfimfi om say hanom be ye two say whatever what I heard ni say om be ye two. Enti ha say roundabout wa ha. Enti hanon so e ma hache. Ana hanso nsan nye. Ana sani omo ye ne de no ano no Inti eno die ye besere omo se omo mo ho nya ha because nya matene say endu December de nka from Ofanko to Insamwamu de Amasaman Ofanko to Amasaman ho ne de nko mbewie inner lanes no ama let me flu but from Amasaman to any de Insamwamu de age 4 years time nya matene no make no crash age say 4 years time sana ombewie sa outer and inner lanes ni nyina by from Ofanko eba ne de wa utimi se mfinfin no omawia be sipoko ase
den na ya de ha mo pa wa ha sei
okay nia ha yen no memu de nia ha yen titiri no ya omo water kwan ne ba bi omo nyeye no aya omo water ne kakra because kwan de ye ya ne yie mu ana se nia oman no so empuntu be koso nti because ye kwan na eboa ma transportation no eye flow eye fast and eboa economy nti se kwan ne nye de a ebe ha adwen pa inti ekwan ne de no ano mo ye ne but ye omo ma mo nsa enye ntem ya na baby a ye ngusu no ye omo water baby won so omo ye gota na aya na access to somebody's area na say ye fie no aya omo mfa nwan feli ho kakra na ye ntimi ntranko fie nim before because omo ye ha na ebe twifo nsuo fa ye so no so wo area ha na beba ha je se okofa manfrum ton ana okofa amasaman ton wo akire ha instead of say actually has say nka outer lane ho no na outer crowd say like this place no e so mo feel ho kakra ejusu na nka yen ye wo say fifi nim no yen ye fa outer lane kra na nka ye access to the road no but wo Festus age say wo kwa to Odumase to Odumase junction ko join Abrekuma road and san no back to Pokuase wo hu ni sa na ha adwenti no ekwan ne de yen ka so mo ayemfun so mo yade but aya engineers no mo ndwen yen so yen kakra say so omo ye kwan gota wo baabi ana omo block baabi a omo fa nwengu baabi ne ntimi access to ye area no kakra. Why?
So he's saying that, and I want to show you, so come with me. He's saying that because of the nature of the construction of the road, they have to do it in pockets, small areas, inner roads, outer roads, and all that. And because of that, sometimes they are forced to block the way. Because of the nature of the construction or the way that they're doing it, sometimes they have to block some parts of the road. Let's engage some drivers and get their experiences of how because they ply the road daily, day out. Good morning, and thank you for speaking to us. We know that this road has been under construction for 2 years. What is your experience of it?
We have suffered a lot on this road, but government is doing well. Government is doing on this road. They are busy working every day. So we want to thank the government, so they should continue.
We have reports of traffic and dusty nature of the road. Do you not experience any of those?
Traffic, we have been in the traffic for almost 2 years and we are still in it. So we are not afraid of the traffic again. What we want is that the construction is going on. Okay.
So there are no delays, nothing to report?
If you leave house early, you will be free. But if you want to sleep, you'll be in traffic. Okay.
The way also road na go so one side we one side we so no be one side no must say one side be o ma bubu kwan nyina gu ho from here to Nsawam o ma bubu kwan nyina gu ho ofia na o kon Nsawam ebe 20 minutes drive but say no to me be almost 40 minutes or road no so baby a wo ko no to me go do on tem enti ade ha adwin papa am for track so say wo kwan no so say no ofia from here to Nsawam enya asem kitiwa in the area hardway and na the account is say mu ye adwuma ne sakwa so mu di machine sekwa no so na mu juri so kakra say be ya amanfo betumi aye den aye we kakra o ka no beto mu kakra be emba ne sa eno ne say photos e work say ka papa say ka papa me ndada ofia kon so mu say obenhu say cars be bra park work no so ebinu mu atoto the form work no so enya normal in the adwuma na omo ye adwuma beta kakra
adwuma na kasa na adwuma wo kwan so adwuma no e wo kwan so yi say your friend say won say e kwan anyi so ana cars so adoso enipa no so adoso nti wo mu nya ne say na wo pen ntem no nti esre passengers ene omo ka mo wo mu kokuru mu no wo nya ntobo ase
ye dey driver bi mu kasa ye omo say e kwan no say na etie ni say say omo ka no kre
e kwan no de so omo ye nti eden abese ka nti wo driver na kita ka no nya ntobo ase so omo ye kwan no nti edu ba bi na porto so anu atobo na bibia ye pepepe porto so ndi omo go so ba bi wo mo fele ba bi won so a nsori to na san sei nti delay traffic ni de so far so omo ye kwan de eden ya delay beba mu nti esere passengers eno mo kokuro mu ye soro mo se omo nya ntobo ase bibia be ye enkopin be 2 years de na yeah, I'm 120.
Reports that we are getting indicates that the people here are happy that the construction is ongoing. However, they think that they could be doing better. For example, they could have completed one complete stretch before moving on to the other side. They could factor in the residents or how they can easily move around when they want to block the gutters and other parts that lead into residential areas. And they could be watering the roads more to reduce the dust in the air because it has some health implications. But ultimately, the traffic, they say they're used to it now, it's normal. Even without a construction, before it started, the traffic situation was also bad. So they're happy that at least a construction is going on, and they're just pleading that they can speed it up and complete it as soon as possible. So from here on this Ofankor in Sawam stretch, my name is Sweetie Abochi for Joy News.